After the chain collision, my girlfriend immediately ran to check on the person who caused my injury. I called for her help, but she completely ignored me. She even said, "If it weren't for you, Evan wouldn't have broken his leg. Now you're complaining about a little injury. How did I never realize you were so delicate before?" It was at that moment I realized the person injured across from me was actually my girlfriend's first love. Watching the subtle exchange of glances between them, I suddenly felt like I had become an unnecessary person. "Dr. Sophia, this patient is seriously injured. We need to operate immediately. Don't worry about him for now. He will be fine." My girlfriend Sophia is helping her first love, hurrying towards the emergency room while I lay on the ground, bleeding profusely. But it seemed she didn't see me. Just when I felt like I was about to give up, she slowly walked over to my side. She said coldly, "If you hadn't suddenly rushed out, how could Evan have broken his leg? That was his newly bought motorcycle. Once you recover, you have to compensate him." I tried my best to explain clearly, but I was met with her disgusted gaze. In an instant, my heart felt like it had fallen into an endless abyss. Today, I originally wanted to surprise her, but as soon as I walked into that alley, I was knocked down by a motorcycle. The rider was Evan, Sophia's unforgettable first love. He was clearly riding too fast, but the outcome was much better than mine when he was finally rescued. He only had a broken leg. I called Sophia for help, but when she arrived, she completely ignored me. He even kicked me hard, causing my wound to reopen. I bled a lot. We were together for 5 years. It was supposed to be the time to prepare for marriage. But now, I just feel so foolish in Sophia's eyes. I might not even compare to Evan in the slightest. It seems she is deliberately making me suffer. Using her position as a doctor, she delayed me for a full 15 minutes before letting me get on the ambulance. When I arrived at the hospital, my last bit of hope was gone. My consciousness gradually faded. In the end, I just passed out before losing consciousness. The last thought in my mind was to completely cut ties with Sophia. Since she likes Evan so much, even disregarding my safety for him, I should understand my position, to let them be together. When I woke up again, Evan was lying on the bed next to me. Sophia was smiling as she fed him nourishing soup. I specifically brought it in a thermos. "The temperature is just right. You should try it." She noticed that I was awake. She shot me an impatient glare. "If you want to eat something, order takeout yourself. Don't expect me to take care of you." I thought my heart had gone numb, but hearing her say that, I couldn't help but let the tears flow. Sophia saw this scene. She thought I was just being unreasonable. She said impatiently, "Stop crying. All you do is make a fuss. It's really annoying." I told Jacob in my heart, "Evan is one of a kind. You can't compare at all." Evan heard this. He wore a smug expression and shot me a provocative glance. "Jacob, sorry. I have a very close relationship with Sophia. You don't mind, do you?" If it were before and I heard such words, I would have been furious. But at this moment, I just calmly wiped away my tears. He smiled nonchalantly. "Of course I don't mind. She is your girlfriend. She's not mine." Sophia smashed the soup bowl on the floor. She glared at me with an ugly expression. I ignored her. I called my mom directly. "Mom, I'm at the hospital. Can you come pick me up?" Sophia thought I was pretending. She said, "Don't think bringing your mom here will scare me." "Jacob, this is all you can do." I closed my eyes. I didn't want to say anything more when my mom and the assistant rushed over. Only then did Sophia realize I wasn't acting. She stood in front of my mom. She said, "Auntie, he's still in the hospital. It's not appropriate to take him right after surgery. That's not very suitable." Right? My mom never liked Sophia anyway. This makes it even less polite. She pushed her aside directly. "You're just a small doctor. How dare you delay my son's treatment? Let me tell you, the investors of this hospital have close ties with my family. If you dare to obstruct again, don't expect to stay in this field." Sophia became an attending physician at a young age. She thinks she is highly skilled. Her attitude has gradually become arrogant. Actually, she is where she is today all because of my silent support behind the scenes. In order not to hurt her self-esteem, I have never told her the truth. She completely doesn't believe it now. She thinks my mom is just trying to scare her. She said, "You're talking nonsense. I've gotten to where I am today through my own abilities and experience. How could it possibly be because of someone like him, who is useless? The assistant quickly stepped forward with sharp eyes. They stared at her. Sophia immediately shut her mouth. Evan, standing beside her, was also too scared to speak. Later, Mom gently hugged me and took me out of the hospital. She took me to the most well-equipped private hospital in the city. She comforted me by saying, "Just focus on getting better. The daughter of the White family has been waiting for you. Since you agreed, we can settle the marriage today." I weakly nodded. Close your eyes. My mind was in chaos. Not long after, the news from Sophia came. Your family is just a small company, right? And you're looking for someone to act. Who are you acting for? Let me tell you, Jacob, don't come up with those unreliable stories to fool me. Otherwise, our relationship ends here. At this point, she still thought I was lying to her. I took a deep breath. Calm down, I directly told her. Let's break up. Just consider these years as wasted. I wish you and your Evan eternal happiness. Don't disturb others anymore. After sending the message, I immediately set her to do not disturb. I remember when we first got together. It was Sophia who pursued me first. She told me, Evan is a very good friend of hers, until I accidentally saw their flirty text from before. Only then did she admit to me that they had a past relationship. Don't worry, right now my heart only has you. He is already a thing of the past for me. At that time she was very certain. I chose to believe her too. I thought she really loved me as she said. I didn't expect she had secretly rekindled her old flame with Evan. This car accident made me see her true character completely. Just as I was thinking, the phone rang again. It was a friend request from Lily. My mom sent me a message. She said we should get to know each other first. I accepted her request, but we didn't chat much. I continued to lie down and rest these years. I have never revealed my true family situation to Sophia. She has always thought of me as just an ordinary young man. Everything I've done is to win her back. I'm also quite relieved that I didn't tell her in advance. My family's business is already the leading enterprise in the city. It has substantial assets. Its operations span multiple fields. My injuries are quite severe. I spent a whole month recuperating in the hospital. This past month, Sophia hasn't sent me a single message. She often posts updates on social media, though, and she always goes out with Evan. I thought I had already moved on, but seeing those photos still makes me feel hurt. It feels like a heavy stone is pressing down on my chest. I can hardly breathe. My head is starting to spin as well. 5 years of feelings in her eyes, they seem so worthless. I clearly did so much for her. In the end, I became a supporting character in her love story with Evan. I will be discharged from the hospital the day after tomorrow. Mom told me that Lily would come to pick me up too. We've chatted a few times during this period. Her personality is completely different from Sophia's. Speaking of work, her enthusiasm is no less than mine. Mom, I understand. I'll be ready. I looked at my reflection in the mirror, a weary face covered in stubble. I felt like I aged a lot all of a sudden, looking back at the past. Sophia would always remind me to pay attention to my appearance before going out. She bought me vintage glasses and chose those floral shirts that completely clashed with my style. She dressed me up like a funny clown. Later I found out. It turned out Evan liked this style. In her heart, she always saw me as Evan's shadow, but she would say she only loved me. Every year on her birthday, I would carefully prepare a surprise, but on my birthday, she always said the hospital was too busy. She couldn't accompany me. The only birthday gift I received. It's a gift that came with the stuff I bought for Evan. I have argued with her before, but each time she used breaking up as leverage against me. I'm reluctant to let go of this relationship. I can only endure it over and over again. If it weren't for getting injured by Evan this time, I might still be stuck in that state. I'll be discharged from the hospital tomorrow. I'm planning to go back to our shared apartment to pick up my cat. That was a gift I gave her. Sophia liked it quite a bit at first, but later she lost interest. I'm busy cleaning every day, and I have to take care of the kitten. I'm exhausted. Sophia, however, doesn't care at all. She said, I'm helping you train. Otherwise, how will you take care of me after we get married? I haven't been able to take care of the cat this month. I don't know how she and Evan will treat it. Thinking of this, I'm extremely anxious. I quickly called my assistant, asking him to check on how the kitten is doing. I saw the little cat crying pitifully in the video. My heart tightened all of a sudden. The little cat's name is Coco. It's a gentle orange cat. I'm very attached to it. I've always been very careful when taking care of it. I'm afraid it might get hurt even a little, but it's only been a few days in Sophia's hands, and it's been messed up like this. She insisted on raising it in the first place. But now that she has it, she doesn't cherish it at all. I don't know why. Suddenly, I felt a wave of sadness in my heart. Coco's experience is too similar to mine. I absolutely cannot ignore this. I had my assistant go pick up Coco. Sophia is still outside playing. There's no one at home. I don't want to have any more contact with her. Boss, the password you provided is incorrect. I can't open the door. Sophia actually changed the password lock at home. I paused for a moment and said Evan's birthday. This time the door opened. The assistant successfully carried Coco out. I didn't expect that. Sophia could be so heartless. The house is rented in my name. She has never paid the utility bills, just to spite me. She changed the locks without permission. She might have seen this on the surveillance footage. A long time passed. Sophia took the initiative to contact me. Who allowed you to break into my house and steal my cat? This is theft. I'm going to call the police. She said bluntly, if you don't pay the rent again and don't apologize sincerely, I will make sure you get a criminal record. You will never be able to turn your life around. She acted as if it was only natural. It feels like I'm the one in the wrong. Every time we argue, I'm the one who apologizes first. She has never been willing to compromise. This time she took the initiative to contact me. It turned out to be about money. She said, I've always been the one paying the rent. You are living here illegally now. I'm giving you 1 week to move out. Don't let me see you again. I'm holding back my anger. I retorted without any politeness. Sophia, however, looked indifferent. You don't need to worry about the rent. I'm now the attending physician. I earn over $20,000 a month. This amount of money is nothing to me. If you want to move, then move. I'll remind you, you might regret it later. Don't come to me to reconcile. I didn't say anything more. I didn't want to argue with her further. Evan interjected, all right, don't argue so fiercely because of me. Let's all speak calmly. Jacob, just apologize. Sophia won't take it too seriously. He comes to stay at our rented house every week, and he has his own separate room. Both of them depend on me for a living, so I don't really want to fall out with them. It was because of Sophia before. I had been enduring it. I was bullied by Evan quite a few times, but now I really can't take it anymore. You really think I'm easy to bully? I haven't done anything wrong. The problem lies with people like you who have no principles. The assistant just sent some photos from home. I took a close look at them. I found an opened box of contraceptive pills on the coffee table. It's obvious. This thing has already been used. Did Sophia betray me? The answer is already very clear. I originally thought she had only emotionally strayed from us. Now I realize. She may have already crossed the line with Evan. Suddenly, I felt a wave of intense nausea. I felt particularly uncomfortable inside. After hanging up the phone, Sophia seemed unwilling to accept it. She posted a public update on her social media. In the photo, she and Evan are tightly embraced. They are attending Evan's academic lecture. The research results displayed on the podium are actually all my achievements. I was originally in research. I used to be somewhat well known in the industry. Later, Sophia thought that my research work was not promising, so she wouldn't let me continue. However, when she discovered Evan's interest in research, she forced me to conduct research in Evan's place. All the results I had worked so hard to achieve were credited entirely to Evan. This time, I won't pursue it further. There's an academic conference the day after tomorrow. You will attend on behalf of Evan, discuss your views on this research. But you must say you are Evan's assistant to the outside world. I was deep in thought. Another message from Sophia came in. Seeing this content, I felt a surge of irony inside. This is clearly my achievement, yet I have to help them commit fraud. Evan has gained a lot of praise and fame from these results, but these should have been mine. Even if I can't obtain them, I absolutely cannot let others take advantage of it, and I absolutely cannot let others take advantage of me. I lowered my head and thought for a moment. I quickly agreed, since they are so shameless. Then don't blame me for being ruthless later. Isn't it just a seminar? I will reveal all the truths then. Let them pay the price for their actions. See, I agreed. Sophia sent me the speech. Just read it as it is. Don't make mistakes. If you dare to pull any tricks, we will break up immediately. I scoffed. I ignored her. Last time I mentioned breaking up to Sophia, but she doesn't seem to understand the seriousness of the situation yet. The next day, Mom came to pick me up from the hospital with Lily. As for Coco, she was sent off to find a new adoptive family after going downstairs. I met my fiancé for the first time. I felt a bit awkward, but Lily's personality is quite cheerful. She took good care of me along the way. The atmosphere in the car was pretty good. She asked me, "How is the recovery this time? There shouldn't be any after effects, right?" My mother looked at me with concern. If something happens to my son's health, those with the surname Sophia shouldn't expect to have good days either. I gently patted her back and comforted her by saying, "Don't worry, I can handle this myself." Then, I told them all about the seminar I was attending tomorrow. I explained everything in detail. During this time spent with Lily, I have unconsciously started to treat her as one of my own. After hearing my thoughts, my mother was very supportive. She said, "Tomorrow I will arrange for several bodyguards to protect you from below the stage. Say whatever you want." Lily nodded in agreement. "I will communicate with the staff on site today to ensure that no one can harm you tomorrow." Seeing their support for me, I felt a long-lost warmth in my heart. The experiences of these 5 years felt like a baptism. Not only did it not make me indifferent, instead, it made me look forward to meeting someone who truly understands me. Maybe I really could try to move forward with Lily back home. I remembered how poorly Sophia treated me. She always thought I was pretending to be a rich second generation. She even believed my mom was an actress I hired. If only she knew the truth. Would she regret it? The seminar was about to start, thanks to Lily's prior arrangements. All the media cameras were focused on us. When it was my turn to speak, I took a deep breath. Later, he publicly exposed their actions. I am not Evan's assistant, but rather the ghostwriter of his academic achievements. He also said, "These research results were completed independently by me and have nothing to do with Evan, who knows little about research." I haven't seen Sophia for a long time. She looked a bit unfamiliar to me. She had heavy makeup on her face, standing in front of Evan, questioning me. "What's wrong with you? Defamation is illegal. Come down quickly." Evan's expression turned ugly. He was worried that his years of accumulated reputation would be ruined by me in an instant. There were many of his fans on site. After hearing what I said, everyone looked at me with questions in their eyes. I immediately displayed the evidence on the big screen. It was the chat record of Sophia forcing me to do research. Every screenshot was clearly visible. She clearly looked a bit flustered. She hurriedly said, "These images are fake. Don't believe him, everyone." I had already guessed she would say something like that, so I immediately took out more evidence. In the video, she was having an intimate interaction with Evan on my bed. At the same time, she kept speaking ill of me. "I just want Jacob to take care of us all the time. Let him focus on his research. All the money he earns belongs to us." Evan looked a bit dazed from her kisses. He reached out to unfasten her clothes. "You are so kind, baby. That person still doesn't know the truth." My mom has been standing in the audience. Her eyes were filled with pain and anger as she looked at me. She couldn't hold back any longer. She rushed up to the stage and slapped Evan. "My family is the Johnson Group. My son Jacob is the heir of the group. He will take over the group in the future." Evan's expression suddenly changed. He usually loves to show off his family's wealth, but compared to my family, it's simply not on the same level. Sophia looked at me in surprise. "How could this be? Didn't you tell me before that your family is quite ordinary?" Before she could finish her sentence, Evan quickly took out his phone to check. He muttered to himself, clearly unable to believe it. "This must be fake. He's just trying to scare me. How could the Johnson Group possibly be his family's?" I looked at them coldly. I felt it was both absurd and ridiculous. This clearly isn't yours. Could it belong to someone like you who only steals others' research results? Evan glared at me angrily. You're talking nonsense. Those results were all achieved through my own hard work. Don't say that. But when he saw the photo of my mother and me on the company's official homepage, he immediately lost his confidence. Sophia snatched the phone away. Her expression became complicated. How is this possible? She looked at me. Her tone carried a hint of regret. If you had told me earlier, I would have treated you well. Recently, we've just had some minor conflicts. As long as you're willing to come back, I promise I won't cause any more trouble. Evan looked at Sophia with a sad expression. What do you mean by that? Do you not want me anymore? I smiled coldly. I felt it was unnecessary to waste more words with them. Then, I turned to face the journalists in the audience who could no longer sit still. Everyone witnessed it firsthand. The truth of the matter is clear. These research results were indeed completed solely by me. In the future, I will continue to focus on my research, prove myself with my abilities. Those who originally supported Evan finally realized that what I said was true. They began to blame Evan, claiming he was behaving improperly, without any sense of shame. This incident quickly spread until the police arrived. Only then did they disperse the crowd. When Evan and Sophia were taken away in the police car, they looked very flustered. Let's go. Son, we're going to have dinner with your Uncle White's family. My mother gently patted my shoulder and left the venue with me. I took a deep breath. It felt like I had finally laid down a long-burdened weight. Sophia kept messaging me. She said she could forgive me for exposing them today, as long as I am willing to turn back. I didn't reply to her. I just turned off my phone. I looked out the window. 5 years of being together. I know exactly what kind of person Sophia is. She may not have deep feelings for Evan. What she cares about most is just money and status. Memories of the past keep flashing in my mind. I only regret not ending this unhealthy relationship sooner. Are you okay, Jacob? Lily beside him asked softly. Her eyes were filled with concern. I looked up at her. Her gaze was gentle and clear. It warmed my heart. I nodded. Go ahead. I'm fine, thank you. If it weren't for Lily's help today, I definitely wouldn't have been so smooth. We arrived at the private room. Lily's parents were already there. Their eyes were filled with admiration as they looked at me. I didn't expect Jacob to be so talented in research, achieving so much at such a young age. They also watched my clarification live stream. Not only did they not despise me, but they firmly supported me. They praised me endlessly. They also said, since everything has been resolved, shouldn't we consider the marriage of the 2 children? Mom smiled and nodded. Yes, I think next Wednesday is great. Let's start preparing from today. There's enough time. Lily's face suddenly turned red. She shyly glanced at me. When our eyes met, I suddenly felt a wave of happiness inside. All right, I have no objections. I happily agreed. Then we toasted together with the White family to celebrate. The atmosphere here is warm, but over at Sophia's side, it's quite chaotic. It's even trending online today. Multiple media outlets rushed to report a piece of news. Everyone now knows that Evan is actually a fake researcher. It also exposed his inappropriate relationship with Sophia. What they did was outrageous. Think about the money spent on Evan's so-called research results before. What a waste. Don't be sad, sister. The original author is the original partner. Just support him. Originally, Evan's fans started to pay attention to me. When I opened my phone, I found that an account that had been lurking quietly suddenly gained 1 million followers. They also found out my identity. They jokingly called me Young Master. You can continue to share research achievements on the platform. It's quite interesting this way. Lily leaned over to take a look. She had a pleasant scent of oranges around her. I looked at her delicate face. For a moment, I was slightly dazed. Right. This way, it can help the company increase its visibility in the future. After careful consideration, I wrote in my profile that I would update research dynamics weekly. After dinner, Mom and Lily's parents left first. Let's choose the wedding dress ourselves and take a look at the wedding venue. After getting in the car, Lily took my hand for the first time. Actually, I've always wanted to tell you, I've liked you for a long time. I know you might not have noticed me, but you said when we were kids that you would marry me. I was suddenly stunned. Childhood memories flooded back. I did have a very close friend back then. Later, she fell seriously ill. Her family moved away for treatment. Since then, we lost contact. On the day we parted, I told her to wait for me, that I would marry her someday. It turned out to be you. I asked in surprise. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Are you better now? Lily nodded and said, I've been fine for a long time. I noticed you hadn't completely moved on from her, so I didn't bring it up. I gently stroked her hand. My heart is filled with happiness. I originally thought this was a marriage based on mutual benefits, but I didn't expect it to fulfill the promise I made in my childhood. We went to the biggest wedding dress shop in the city. Lily and I picked out wedding outfits together. She tried on several dresses. Each one was especially beautiful. In the end, she chose a strapless wedding gown. The skirt was very long. It was adorned with tiny crystals. They sparkled in the sunlight. It was as beautiful as the Milky Way. You look really good in this outfit. It suits you perfectly. I sincerely complimented her. Then I tried on a few suits myself. In the end, we decided to take photos together. The staff all put down what they were doing. They gathered around to watch. They even said, "You're such a perfect match. The man is handsome. The woman is beautiful. You're truly a match made in heaven." Lily smiled at me. She naturally linked her arm with mine. My heart warmed up. I gently pulled her into an embrace. I leaned down and kissed her. After returning home, I stared at our photo together. My thoughts wandered away. Mom pushed the door open and came in. She asked me, "Son, are you still satisfied with Lily?" I nodded. I told her that we had known each other since we were young. Mom smiled and said, "I have watched Lily grow up since she was little. She is different from others. She is kind-hearted and capable. You will definitely live a happy life in the future." She continued, "I have also arranged the wedding venue for you. All you have to do is attend happily when the time comes." I was just about to lie down and rest. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was a call from Sophia. Her voice sounded like she had just been crying. "Jacob, why haven't you replied to my messages? I know I was wrong. I still love you." Her voice trembled slightly. "It seems I really feel very regretful. You said you loved me, but how did you treat me before? What's the use of saying these things now?" I said coldly. "Moreover, isn't Evan your long-time crush? Why not go accompany him?" She kept entangling me on the phone. It made me feel very impatient. Then I gave a bitter smile. "She loves me. She actually said she loves me. So what were all the grievances and coldness I endured before? But I really don't love you anymore. To me, it's like falling into a muddy pit, a dirty and broken toy. Maybe it was useful before, but now I feel dirty just throwing it in the trash, because I find it too disgusting. Do you understand?" Sophia started crying on the phone. Then she hung up the phone herself. Suddenly, I felt a bit uneasy inside. In the afternoon, Lily sent me a video. "Go ahead. Sophia edited your call. She wants to use it to explain and expose." I caught her. I stopped her. "She's not easy to deal with. Don't be soft-hearted. Just report it to the police directly." I was taken aback for a moment. "Go ahead. What soft-heartedness? I've never been soft-hearted towards her. I just don't want to deal with her." Unknowingly, I was eager to explain to Lily. I was afraid she would misunderstand. She smiled gently. She said in a gentle tone, "I understand. But if I hadn't stopped it in time this time, things could have gotten out of hand again." I clicked on the video. My hand unconsciously tightened. The tips of my fingers turned white from the force. Sophia wouldn't come up with such a plan. It must be Evan manipulating her from behind. I haven't settled the score with him for the last accident. It seems he's asking for trouble. "You think I will let you lead me around like before?" Evan snatched Sophia's phone away, yelling at me, "You maliciously edited it. I can definitely sue you for defamation." He spoke with a tone full of defiance. "Why do you get to have everything? I'm going to ruin you. Go ahead and sue." I'm not afraid. He understands in his heart. Defamation will only land you a few days in jail at most, so he acts completely unconcerned. I calmly remind him, "What about the speeding incident? How will you explain that?" Evan suddenly panicked. His speech became stammering. "How did you know? You have no evidence." "Right?" Sophia asked in confusion from the side. What's going on? Didn't you say he suddenly ran out and hit you? I said coldly. You believe everything Evan says. Don't you have any judgment? Don't bother me again in the future. Get lost. That's it. I hung up the phone directly. Later, I immediately reported Evan for speeding to the traffic police. At that moment, Evan panicked. He desperately sent me messages to apologize. I ignored him completely. I said coldly, "Weren't you quite tough just now? I think you seemed more resolute just now." In the end, Evan was locked up in the detention center. In that small, cold interrogation room, Evan sat on the hard chair. His eyes were filled with fear and regret. He knew, this time he really had no way out. I was really impulsive at that time. Please give me another chance. Evan's voice trembled. With a choking tone, he tried hard to defend himself. I was just impulsive for a moment. The police had a stern face, with a severe gaze. They said, "You were speeding, stole research results, and deliberately edited the video to frame others. You can't evade any of this." Evan lowered his head. He couldn't say a word, he knows. No explanation can change the current situation. Once the news spread, his last few supporters left him. There are criticisms of him everywhere online. All kinds of accusations and scorn left him nowhere to escape. His reputation is completely ruined. Someone like Evan should receive the punishment he deserves. He not only stole others' research results, but also wanted to ruin others' futures. Such behavior is truly outrageous. People like him should be locked up for a while, to prevent him from harming others once released. At that moment, Sophia's situation was getting worse. She tried to contact me, but I had blocked all her contact methods. There was no way out. She had to inquire everywhere. Eventually, she found where I lived on a stormy night. Sophia stood outside my gate, soaked to the skin. It's hard to tell if it's rain or tears on her face. Her eyes are filled with despair. Sophia is kneeling in the mud. Her voice is hoarse. "Jacob, please open the door. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong." Rainwater flows down from her hair, mixing with her tears, dripping onto the muddy ground. "I love you. I can't live without you. Evan is a liar. I will have nothing to do with him again." She keeps bowing her head. Her forehead hits the ground. "It soon starts to bleed. Please forgive me. Give me one more chance. I promise. I will definitely change to make up for my mistakes with the time I have left." However, no matter how much she cries and pleads, there is always silence inside the house. The servants at home stand at the door, coldly staring at Sophia. "You should leave. Our young master won't see you." Sophia is unwilling to give up. She struggles to stand up. She wants to rush into the courtyard. "Jacob, I know you're inside. Can you come out and see me?" Sophia's voice is filled with despair. The servants quickly came to stop her. "Miss, please calm down. Don't make it difficult for us." Then, the servants forcibly pulled her away. Sophia resisted with all her strength. She kept shouting my name. I sit in the warm and bright living room. Lily leans against me through the window. We see Sophia kneeling in the rain. My gaze is indifferent, without any sympathy. Lily quietly asks me, "Jacob, she's still outside. How about?" I immediately refuse. "No need." My tone is very firm, not a hint of hesitation. I look at Sophia. Her eyes were filled with disgust and resentment. "She brought this upon herself," I said coldly. Lily nodded slightly. She didn't say anything more. Then, she stood up in a daze. Her steps were unsteady. She walked away slowly, according to the feedback from my investigators. Sophia was dismissed from the hospital. All her previous honors were also revoked. Those things were originally obtained through my connections. Now that I no longer support her, it naturally all disappears. On the day of the wedding, Sophia flashed by in the crowd. The sunlight was too dazzling. I couldn't see her face clearly. It no longer matters who she is. I found someone to spend my life with. Lily and I stood amidst the blessings of family and friends, gazing affectionately at each other. Our hearts were filled with hope and confidence for the future. After the vows, we exchanged rings. Amidst everyone's applause and blessings, we have completed this sacred and solemn ceremony. After getting married, Lily and I live a sweet and peaceful life. Her personality complements mine perfectly. We've been together for so long. We've never had a fight. Lily not only takes care of me meticulously in life, But she also provides me with great support and help in my career. She is smart and capable, and gentle and virtuous. She is a very capable assistant to me. Later, I took over the family business. I became the head of the Johnson Group. My mother retired early. She often travels with Uncle White and Aunt White. There are more and more updates in my circle of friends. She also calls me regularly to tell me which famous attractions she has visited. I face complex work and difficult decisions every day. Lily always supports me silently. She helps me come up with ideas and encourages me. When I hadn't yet established myself in the company, she gave me a lot of useful advice. With her help, I gradually became familiar with the company's affairs, leading the company towards greater development opportunities. At the same time, I still insisted on my research work. I share my research results every week, incorporating my thoughts and feelings into it, communicating with those who care about me. Without Sophia's interference, my research has become smoother. Gradually, my fan base is growing. The number of followers on the platform has exceeded 3 million. They like my work and are touched by my experiences. Many people leave messages to cheer me on. Some say, "Young master, your research keeps getting better." I really admire you, young master. We will always stand by your side. Looking at these messages, I feel a great sense of accomplishment. I also organized several academic seminars. I have made many like-minded friends, but just when Lily and I were living happily, Sophia appeared again. I was studying intently in the study. Suddenly, my phone rang. I picked it up to take a look. It was a text from an unknown number. "Jacob, it's me," this tone. I'm too familiar with it. I frowned, thinking about what Sophia wants to do again. I realized I had made many mistakes before, and now I deeply regret it. "Jacob, I love you. I have been waiting for you." I looked at the phone screen, feeling particularly annoyed. I said to Sophia, "I told you long ago we are done." I said, "I am already married, and I am very happy now." He said, "I understand." The message from Sophia carried a hint of helplessness and pain, but I really can't control myself. "You're all I can think about," Jacob said. "Even if it means just being your lover, I'm willing to. I will love you wholeheartedly." I coldly smiled. There wasn't a shred of sympathy in my heart. "Sophia, you really can't keep doing this." I told her directly, "If this continues endlessly, I'll have to report you for harassment. No matter how you persuade me, I won't date again." The message from Sophia was filled with stubbornness. "I will wait for you to change your mind." I looked at the phone screen. It just felt absurd. It was even a bit laughable. "Stop lying to yourself. This will only make me hate you more." After saying that, I immediately blocked Sophia. Days later, Lily came back from outside. She was holding a report in her hand. I took it and had a look. It turned out she was pregnant. I smiled happily. I hugged her tightly. "Sophia is leaving this city." Before she left, she came to find me. She said to me, "I'm sorry. I just hope you don't hate me." I looked into her sad eyes. The old me always thought I could keep looking into those eyes and spend a lifetime with her. But now, teardrops flowed like a river, separating us far apart. We can never come together again. "I don't hate you. I just hope you won't come looking for me again." After she left, I still had a happy life with Lily. Later, we had a lovely baby. The home became even warmer and more harmonious.